Have some spare time? Give me 10 minutes and I'll fill it with smart bites. No hassle! Hey, welcome to the show where your curiosity levels go up before your coffee cools down. Tonight, we've got 3 stories that look nerdy on paper until you realize how much they shape everyday life. First up, beauty standards. There was a time when sky-high wigs were basically cheap rental housing for lies. Proof that beauty standards keeps changing every few centuries. Then, somewhere tonight, someone's life will be a little safer because a hospital AI spots a problem on a scan before the doctor even opens it. And finally, we'll look at the tiny codes behind modern shopping. One simple barcode helped supermarkets save millions with a single beep at checkout. It's one more thing in your feed, but we are trying to make it one you remember. If you chuckle once, that also counts as learning. Deal? Let's start with beauty standards. Not instructions for how anyone should look, but the shifting cultural ideas and impressions of beauty across different times. Beauty has never been one fixed ideal. It shifts with time, culture, and status. In 18th century Europe, for example, artificial beauty marks became so fashionable that people added tiny velvet or silk mouches to their faces to match outfits or highlight certain features. In prehistoric Europe, figurines like the Venus of Willendorf exaggerate hips, belly, and breasts. The ideal was abundance and fertility. Back then, daily life depended on unpredictable hunting seasons, harsh winters, and fragile food reserves. Having a body that could store energy, survive shortages, and carry a pregnancy to term represented security, continuity, and the promise that a small community could endure. In 18th century Europe, especially around the French court, a towering powdered wig was a clear status signal. It showed you had money, access to skilled hairdressers, and a place in fashionable society. People could spend hours having their hair built up on wireframes and cushions, decorated with ribbons, feathers, and ornaments. The higher and more elaborate the style, the more it said about rank and ambition. There was one practical downside. These constructions were hard to clean and could stay on for days with only light refreshing on top. Warm powder, fat, and fabric created a good environment for lice and other small insects, so itchy scalps were a normal part of the experience. To cope, people used special scratching sticks and fine combs under the wig, trying to keep the discomfort under control. In parts of medieval and Renaissance Europe, pale skin and a very high forehead signaled status. Women literally plucked or shaved their hairline and used whitening mixtures that sometimes contained lead. It's basically a poison that can damage the brain, nervous system, kidneys, and reproductive health. In high doses, it can even be fatal. If you go back even further or sideways in history, it gets just as intense. In parts of China, allied families practiced foot binding, creating what later became known as lotus feet, a highly valued aesthetic associated with status and refinement at the time. Considered elegant, but it meant pain and limited movement for life. In Renaissance Italy, some women used belladonna drops to dilate their pupils and look more romantic. Today we know that belladonna is a toxic plant. In high doses, it can disturb vision, heart rhythm, and the nervous system. Risks that people for that time could not fully assess. Fast forward to today. Every era has its own idea of what looking good means, and ours is no exception. The toolbox is bigger than ever. Filters, botox, threads, SMAS and RF treatments, and other devices that can smooth or tighten the face without open surgery. Nowadays, beauty can mean anything from a simple routine at home to regular visits to a clinic. The key is that these are options, not rules. You can look at real data, speak with a specialist, and choose what supports your health and confidence. In earlier centuries, people often used what was available, from lead-based powders to rigid corsetry and complex wig structures. Without knowing the long-term effects or having safer alternatives, understanding how beauty ideals shifted over time helps us see today's trends as choices you can try or skip, not instructions you have to follow. If this caught your interest, Nibble has even more, like a deep dive into ancient Egyptian beauty routine along with other facts to discover. We have talked about how different eras tried to shape how the body looks from the outside. Now, let's switch to something much more practical. Tools that help doctors see what's happening inside the body. AI in medicine is a second set of eyes that never gets tired. Start with imaging. In many stroke centers, software from vendors like Siemens, Healthineers, and Philips scans had CTs in the background and flags suspected big clots or brain bleeds for the radiologist. Let's talk numbers. In breast cancer screening, one large UK-US study found that an AI system reading mammograms alongside doctors cut false positives by around 3 to 4% and false negatives by 8% compared with human readers alone. This may sound small, but those percentages are women's lives. A newer nationwide program in Germany showed something even cleaner. With AI helping the radiologists, the system found about 17% more cancers without creating more false alarms. For stroke, AI that watches CT scans in real time gets the doctors involved about 40 minutes faster on average. That saved time means more people keep things like speech and movement and have a better chance of avoiding serious long-term disability. AI tools don't only live in hospitals. At home, smartwatches use similar algorithms to watch your heart rhythm in the background. And when they flag something unusual, that alert often reflects a real event you wouldn't feel on your own. On top of that, there are real case stories where a watch warning led doctors to catch serious problems early. From dangerous arrhythmias and silent heart attacks to a rare large vessel vasculitis, an autoimmune vessel disease that was found because a woman kept seeing an unexplained high resting heart rate in her fitness app. None of these systems are perfect, and they absolutely cannot replace doctors. But when you stack the numbers, a pattern appears. AI quietly makes screening more accurate, moves stroke patients to treatment faster, and turns everyday gadgets into early warning sensors. The trick is using it where the data says it helps, measuring its performance honestly, and always keeping a human in charge of the final call. We've just talked about AI quietly helping doctors in the background. Now, let's look at something much simpler that's been quietly organizing everyday life for decades. First, zip codes. Before them, mail was sorted mostly by city names, street names, and human memory. As cities grew and mail volumes exploded, that meant delays, wrong routes, and a lot of manual work. In the 1960s, the US Postal Service added a short block of digits to every address, and sorting machines could finally do the heavy lifting. Can you imagine today's amount of letters and parcels without that extra line? A 5-digit code quietly became a basic unit for logistics and planning, a smaller marker that defines a destination and the route to it. Barcodes solved another headache inside stores. For a long time, cashiers typed prices in by hand, and inventory was updated from paper lists at the end of the day or week. That meant guesswork, mistakes, and a delay between what was really on the shelf and what the system thought was there. With product codes and scanners, each item got a machine-readable identity. One scan could put the right price and update stock levels in the background. From there, chains could see what was selling, how fast it moved, and in which locations. That stream of data helped them decide what to restock, where to place items, when to run promotions, and when to quietly drop a product that no one bought. QR codes are a newer branch of the same family. They were created to track parts on factory lines, but now you see them on posters, bills, and restaurant tables. In many cafes and fast casual places, you scan a square, open the menu, sometimes place and pay for your order right from your phone. From the business's side, it's a control panel. Raise prices on popular items, test a new dish on regulars, send push notifications to big spenders, quietly stop offering promos to people who never respond. From the guest side, it still feels like I just paid with my phone. So, tonight, we went from changing beauty standards to hospital AI to the tiny codes that quietly run our shopping. 3 snapshots of how new ideas turn into the background of everyday life. Thanks for sharing these 10 minutes with Nibble. Here, every 10 minutes turn into knowledge.